This year has been a year of personal and professional growth for me. I've been able to push myself out of my comfort zone and use my voice as well as my writing to express my opinion and put deep thought into questions and assignments asked of me. I have chose to create a memory box to capture the milestones that I've underwent while completing my placement experience and coursework. Milestones are items that are found on the side of the road which provide reference points to the journey ahead. This can be used to reassure travelers that proper path is being followed and to indicate either distance traveled or remaining distance to the designated destination. This definition speaks volumes to me because on my journey, it's been filled with many reference points along the way, leading me to the point in my life that I am right now. There has been challenges that almost led me off track. However, with support, perseverance, and courage, I have been able to overcome these obstacles. I was able to overcome these obstacles, which reminds me of the recovery model approach to mental health by Jacobs, 2015, which emphasizes resiliency and control over problems in life while focusing on building resiliency of people with mental illness and supporting those in emotional distress. The term milestone is used to indicate the location on the road, even if no physical sign is present. Oftentimes on my journey through my undergraduate degree as well as my master's education, at times I felt lost or unsure of my path. There seemed to be no physical signs present at the time, and I really had to look inward to locate my path to get to my chosen destination. I chose to create a memory box to highlight my professional and my personal journey by using objects to represent milestones that were reached in the process. When I started my placement at a local school board, I started gathering an array of different items from working with students and also things my supervisor gave me to use while working with students. I also found that I was making a lot of PDF files on my computer and to save important information, articles, and quotations and discussion posts as well that I thought might be useful for the future. Now, being in such a digital age, I wanted to add to my experience by bringing something that I loved to do as a kid. So I found a memory box was a great way to continue collecting and adding while not forgetting any of my experiences. I found it a great way for me to look back at some of the relationships and connections that I made throughout the year, some of those being emotional connections. These emotional connections reminded me of a theory that was introduced in our leadership and supervision class called emotional intelligence theory. Uh, Goldman and Meyer in 1995 suggest that emotional intelligence has to do with a person's ability to understand his or her own emotions and then be able to apply this understanding to life's tasks. This theory, it really did speak volumes to me. I always thought that my sensitivity made me really vulnerable and at times weak. However, after reading this research, I was reminded again of taking what others might see as a weakness and find a way to use it as an instrumental tool to thrive. As people who are sensitive to their emotions and aware of the impact their emotions have on others are said to be the most effective leaders. Relationship theory was something that I came across when doing research and found that it applied to me, especially when engaging in such a conscious raising activity like this capstone presentation. With relationship at its core, relationship theory views individuals in its context of their environment and ways in which individuals internalize experiences of self, other, and environment. And that's Siegel, 2012. So during the process of crafting my memory box and gathering the milestones and other content, it was a time for me to reflect on the relationships in my life that had gotten me to where I am today. I remember being introduced to Peggy McIntosh during my first year of university. Her article, Unpacking the Invisible Knapsack, 1988, teaches us to realize and take action against racial inequalities by paying attention to our personal identities and experiences and using the privileges that we have to lead to social action. This concept changed my whole outlook on many things. One being is how I am able to use my privilege, the privilege that I was given to create change in my surroundings. And it really did give me a sense of not only the social worker that I wanted to be, but the person that I wanted to be. In her article, Peggy uses herself as an example for all people to examine their role in systems of oppression and domination. She states, as a white person, I realize I have been taught about racism as something that puts others at a disadvantage, but had been taught not to see one of the aspects of white privilege, which puts me at an advantage. And that's on page 2 of her article. This statement was so important to me because Peggy really does suggest, rather than blaming ourselves for the privilege that we have, we should use our advantages to make visible what is rendered invisible. So we can do this by acknowledging those difficult conversations. Being adopted at a young age and given a life I really did feel like I didn't deserve and I didn't even really understand. It allowed me to use the privilege that I was given to evoke change in actually my placement setting was the very same high school that I attended and had the pleasure of working with students from this school. While completing my placement, I was able to run bi-weekly workshops based on topics of body image, privilege, and ways to challenge racism and discrimination, which as a racialized woman is and always has been a passion of mine. One of the workshops was highlighted on the local board's website as a reminder for students to use their voice to embrace diversity. This was a really proud moment for me. It really did feel like things came full circle, as though I was able to use my platform and my privilege to evoke change in my environment. So some of the things I included in my memory box are pictures, quotes, my ID badge, feedback from students, and one of the pictures is my experience working with Holly the service dog, as you can see here. She's been 5 years on the job. She is well known to members of the school board and beloved by all the staff and students. Holly has a way of making people feel welcome while providing emotional support for students that may be going through a variety of mental health issues. Another milestone that I included in my capstone presentation is actually feedback that I received from one of my papers from the supervision and leadership class. My paper entitled Supervisory Roles Where Race, Gender, and Ethnicity Play a Hindering Role was actually used by the ED of a Children's Aid Society. That person took my paper back to the Board of African Canadian Social Workers to be used to assist them while implementing one voice, one vision incentive. This is an incentive that's led by the Children's Aid Society to address the overrepresentation and experiences of disparities faced by African Canadian children. This was an absolute honor to me. I also work in child welfare, and I've seen a lot of different things, and I really did feel like, again, I was able to use my privilege and my platform to really make a change in not only my community, but also within the community that I work. On my last day at my placement at the school board, students that I actually worked with provided anonymous written feedback to my supervisor about their time that they spent with me. And these are just a few of some of the things that they say. So one person wrote, "My experience with Miss Campbell has helped me so much. I've learned to grow more as a person and to find that and as a person, and that's made me the best person version of myself." Another person writes, "Miss Campbell helped me so much. I would not always talk to people about my emotions and problems, but Miss Campbell was so kind and understanding and helped me listen and talk to me. I'll miss her so much, especially because we had so much in common." Another person writes, "I really enjoyed all of my sessions with Miss Campbell. It really helped me say all the things out loud that I was feeling inside to someone who I felt comfortable with and who actually listened to what I had to say. I think the group she started was really great and should be continued. It brings together girls who might be facing similar problems or have similar questions and let them know they are not alone. Miss Campbell was key in helping me get better. She is very cheerful, understanding, and a kind person who I look forward to meeting with every week." This really was so nice to hear this feedback because I really did feel like I was appreciated in what I was doing and that I really did make a difference. So this year has been a really big challenge for me. It's pushed me out of my comfort zone. I've met some wonderful people that I was able to collaborate with. So many wonderful social workers from all different provinces of this great country. And I have found that collaborating with others takes a willingness of contribution, as well as taking the time to understand and reason um, in the hopes of being able to appreciate personal perspectives on different issues. Wilson and Associates, 2008, suggests that collaborating knowledge through different networks is sustainable only when members remain willing to contribute their time, information, and resources. So this really does take an effort when collaborating and participating, especially through distance education. All of the classes, different modules, different discussion boards, assignments, and papers, all of the experiences have allowed me to partake in personal growth as well as professional growth, with at the same time meeting some wonderful people and some wonderful social workers. I really feel privileged that I was able to embark on such a wonderful journey.